Hello everyone. Welcome back to another EDH guide. Before we get into this EDH guide, please like and subscribe. Um, really appreciate it. Thank you to the 74 of you who are currently subscribed, and you can be one of those people. You just have to subscribe. It's that simple. And leave a like. Um, leave a like is just preferred. You don't have to leave a like in order to subscribe, but I prefer you do. Comment on this video, give me feedback, tell me what I'm doing good, shows me that you care. And also, you can make an EDH request, first come, first serve. So get to the comments if you want to make a request and you want yours to be the first one in order to be featured in order of requests. And make sure the commander you want to see featured on this channel has not already been featured on this channel via another video of mine. So that's why you should go watch my other videos. And if you have not, if your commander is not featured within my videos, then make the EDH request. But you can also make a request for like a specific style of a deck I have not covered, even though it may be of that same commander that is already featured on this channel. So like a Voltron style of a commander that is already featured on this channel, like Ramos or something. Just say it in the comments and I will get to it. Oh, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss another one of my videos. And please share this video along with my other videos found on this channel. I've been neglecting to say that. So that other people can receive guidance from yours truly. With that said, let us get on to today's commander. Today is an uncommon commander, but still can actually be not that bad. Lag from Dominar United, Lagomos, Hand of Hatred. So this is a sort of tutor style deck, and the way I built it is that as we search for more and more cards, we add more and more parts onto our engine that burns our opponents out faster and faster and helps us secure the game quicker and quicker. And I'll get to that real soon. And Lagomos Hand of Hatred helps with that by creating a 2/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste at the beginning of combat on our turn, and it is sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step, which contributes to the activated ability. Because in order to activate his ability, we have to have 5 more creatures have died this turn. And in red black aristocrat style decks like this, or whoever we may be playing against, depends. They may be also be playing some force sacrifice, which will make it easier on us. Let's get straight into it. This is mostly creature based, but we have some like non-creature cards that can, like I said, help build up our engine, like build us an engine or even like add on to it. Depends on like when we play the card. Rakdos Lord of Riots to get us started. If we get this early, it can really kickstart us and bring us into the late game if we go that long. Because with Rakdos, once you get them out, suddenly your creature spells may be a lot cheaper on other turns than what they would normally be. And because of that, it may lead to an early end of the game, an end where you win. So if you get Rakdos Lord of Riots out as soon as you can, it could mean the game over for your opponents because of what this card does. Now your opponent does have to lose life in order for you to be able to cast this demon. But in turn, first of all, flying trample 6/6 for only double black and double red not too bad, but also creature spells we cast cost 1 generic less to cast for each 1 life we have our opponents have lost this turn. Not we have lost, but our opponents. And in a red-black deck, there's a lot of ways you make someone lose life and even lose the game completely. And if you're going mostly creature based for this deck, I would highly recommend Rakdos. Bladewing Deathless Tyrant, we're going to be filling up our graveyard, so we'll be able to utilize that with Bladewing Deathless Tyrant here. I covered him in a episode, and this is a great commander. I would recommend you try it out. I don't have it myself, but I really want to. The old one wasn't bad. It's just this one is much better. But what matters is that in this deck, as we fill up our graveyard with creature cards, this is gonna make us more and more zombie knights with menace. And they are 2/2s, and who knows how many we're gonna be making in a turn with Bladewing here. And that's gonna add up to a lot more damage over time. Terror of the Peaks adds to that by dealing damage to any target whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control. Grave Betrayal can get us resources from our opponent's side of the board whenever creatures they control die. If it would have to be non-token, because token creatures don't go to the graveyard. Even when they die. But if it goes to the graveyard from the battlefield, it's gonna be going right back onto our battlefield, which means we could get something like a Craterhoof Behemoth out of Grave Betrayal. Butcher of Malakir really adds on to this part as well. It'll add on to the entire engine overall because of what Lagomos does at the beginning of our combat and what Grave Betrayal does. Which Butcher of Malakir forces our opponents to sacrifice more creatures. That makes it easier on us to activate Lagomos for the turn, and it triggers off Grave Betrayal a bunch. So the more stuff we have dying, the more resources we're gonna get out of Grave Betrayal because of Butcher of Malakir, and the more easy it will be to activate Lagomos's activated ability. So definitely recommend that card for this type of deck. Crowded Crypt. We're gonna have creatures dying, so we may as well have something that benefits us later if need be. And it will later. So once you sacrifice this with its activated ability, you'll get a bunch of tokens out of it. Sure, those tokens can't block due to the Decayed, but they will sacrifice themselves at the end of combat if they do survive. And there could be a lot of them. Depends on when you sacrifice Crowded Crypt and how many corpse counters are on it. If you have a good amount, it wouldn't matter if the zombies die at the end of the combat because at the end of combat the game may be over because you might have just won. Who knows? But Decayed is also nice because those zombies will die at the end of combat if they survive. They sacrifice themselves because they attacked, which will then trigger off Butcher of Malakir, forcing each of our opponents to sacrifice creatures, which then in turn returns those creatures from their graveyards onto the battlefield under our control, thanks to Grave Betrayal, and makes it easier for us to in turn activate Lagomos to search for something to add to this engine. Something like the Meat Hook Massacre to just wipe everything out. Now, whenever a creature we control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and whenever a creature our opponent controls dies, we gain 1 life. And when this enters the battlefield, if we pumped a lot into X, a lot of stuff may die. depends on how big creatures are at that point or how late in the game we are. So definitely a good card, depending on how you use it and when you play it and how much you pump into X. But it'll definitely be a nice addition to the engine we will have going at this point. Just like Pawn of Ulamog, which creates us tokens that are able to sacrifice themselves to add mana, to add one generic mana to our mana pool or colorless. And that is whenever Pawn of Ulamog or another non-token creature we control dies. We will get those tokens, which in turn helps our engine a lot more. Puts more corpse counters on Crowded Crypt, which and in turn also as we're sacrificing those spawn, it's triggering off Butcher of Malakir, which is triggering off Grave Betrayal, and all in all is helping us with Lagomos' activated ability. Pitiless Plunderer, same sort of thing, except it's just whenever another creature we control dies. So it doesn't matter if it's a token or not. And we're getting artifacts out of it that can tap themselves and be sacrificed to add 1 mana of and 1 color to a mana pool rather than colorless. So that adds to our engine. Ruthless Knave. We can sacrifice a creature to it to create 2 colorless treasure artifact tokens with. Well, you get the idea. It's helping us with our engine by giving us more mana for later turns. Which of the Moors can get like important pieces back, but also force our opponents to sacrifice stuff if we have gained life on that turn that it triggers off. Which of Moors? Bastion of Remembrance. Start draining our opponents whenever a creature we control dies. And Bastion of Remembrance creates as a token when it enters the battlefield. Soulport Cutthroat does the same thing, we just don't get the token. Open the Graves. We'll start creating us some zombies that we can sacrifice. Falcon Wrath Noble. We'll start draining our opponents whenever a creature dies, whether it's on our side of the battlefield or their side of the battlefield. It does not matter. Ogre Slumlord. We'll start creating us 1/1s, and they'll have Death Touch as long as Ogre Slumlord is around. Judith, the Scourge Diva, can buff up our entire board, and as more and more creatures we control dies, well, non-token creatures we control die, Judith can start shooting down like annoying little 1/1s or just pinging our opponent. Jury, Master of the Review. As we sacrifice more and more permanents, Jury gets bigger and bigger, and when he dies, eventually, he's going to end up dealing damage equal to his power to any target. Shieldred Whispering One can get important engine pieces back and force our opponents to sacrifice more and more creatures. Sure, this doesn't really help Lagomos because in order to activate Lagomos, 5 more creatures have to die within a single turn. It can't be over the course of like 1 turn. But still, Shieldred Whispering One is nice to have. Would definitely recommend in case we sacrifice stuff and we want it back in the game under our control on our battlefield later for our engine. Death Tyrant. So now with Death Tyrant, we get more out of attacking, because even if the attacking creatures don't survive, we're going to get 2/2 zombies out of it, and Death Tyrant can return itself from our graveyard to the battlefield attack. Garna, Bloodfist of Keld. Whenever another creature we control dies, we draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, Garna here deals 1 damage to each opponent. If we give this thing lifelink, we're going to have a good source of life to keep us in the game. But otherwise, if we don't, oh well, we're dealing damage to our opponents. At the end of the day, when you're playing Rakdos, it's not about staying in the game as much as it is a firefight to the end to smother out your opponents for the most part. Orca, Siege Demon. It has trample and it's a 5/5 to start with. And whenever another creature dies, whether it's ours or our opponents, we put a plus counter on this creature. And then when this guy dies, we can have it deal damage equal to its power divided as we choose among any number of targets. So we can get rid of a lot of like annoying 1/1s, or just straight up kill someone if we have enough damage. Boneyard Scourge can just get itself back as stuff dies, so we can sacrifice it and trigger off death triggers for creatures who only accept non-token creatures such as Boneyard Scourge. Grave Pact. Whenever another creature we control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. Don't think I need to explain much else. Archfiend of Despair prevents our opponents from gaining life. So this kind of seals the deal at this point if we're this late in the game, because this is 8 mana. Although with Rakdos, it could easily be double black. And at the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. So this is really going to hurry up the clock on our opponents. And before they know it, they may be dead. Phyrexian Obliterator is great against mono red decks because if someone just plays a 5 damage burn spell to get rid of Phyrexian Obliterator, in turn, they now have to, whoever that was, they in turn now have to sacrifice 5 permanents. And Phyrexian Obliterator doesn't say non-land permanents. It just says permanents. So this can end up hurting a lot. And if it's like, if this is blocked by like a big green creature like a 15/15, it's being dealt 15 damage. Now whoever controlled that green creature is going to have to sacrifice 15 permanents, which in turn could help us with activating Lagomos's activated ability. Depends on what our opponents sacrifice. Priest of Forgotten Gods help us sacrifice more creatures, drain our opponents, force them to sacrifice creatures, and then we get to add double black to our mana pool and draw a card. Corridor Doom Scourge can just essentially go to everything when there's a battlefield, so we're safe kind of for a turn if need be. And as more and more attacking creatures die within a turn, each opponent is losing that much more life, and we're gaining that much more life as a result. Dying Wish can keep us in the game and kill someone, depending on how big the creature is. Sengir, the Dark Baron, could keep us in the game. If someone happens to lose the game, then that could seal the deal. Because whenever another player loses the game, we gain life equal to that player's life as the turn began. And whenever another creature dies, we put 2 plus counters on this creature. So I think you see where I'm going with this. Loreen, the Diversion. Now we have to sacrifice artifacts and or creatures to goad creatures. So swing big scary things away from us. Force our opponent to divert attention somewhere else. Warstorm Surge can help us deal more and more damage within a turn. Mirror March, you never know with this card. It could be a fluke whenever a non-token creature enters battlefield under your control, or you could flip as many coins as you would need to flip to win a lottery, and you just kill everyone out of nowhere. So you could get like 5 Butcher of Malakirs all of a sudden, and then before you know it, everyone's board state is gone. Except for yours, maybe. Perfiros, God of the Forge, pings each of our opponents for 2 whenever another creature enters battlefield under our control, and he can buff up our entire army. Flame Shadow Conjuring, just to double up on all of our stuff. Add to the mayhem, add to the engine. If that betrays, at this point, Annihilator 2, and whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control. We combine this with something like Grave Pact or Butcher of Malakir, we're going to be getting a good amount of creatures onto the battlefield under our control that once belonged to our opponents. Unless that is they're sacrificing tokens because they're a token player. But still, very nice card. Titan Hunter punishes our opponents for not sacrificing their creatures or having them killed off. And Titan Hunter also allows us to stay in the game by via sacrificing a creature to it to gain 4 life. Ghoul Caller Gisa can give us an army in an instant if we sacrifice a big creature to her. Micaeus the Unhallowed to give all of our non-human creatures we control +1/+1 and Undying so they can come back even stronger. And we don't have to worry about board wipes as much as long as those creatures that died did not have +1/+1 counters on them. Gisa, Glorious Resurrector, can get some useful stuff from our opponents, like some of the other cards, like Grave Betrayal in our deck. Outpost Siege can either deal 1 damage to any target whenever a creature we control leaves the battlefield, or help us dig for stuff that we may need to close out the game. Night Incarnate could just plain kill everything when it leaves the battlefield, especially if we evoke it. Because then it's sacrificed right as it enters the battlefield, and then everything will get -3/-3 until end of the turn. And for token players, that could be a problem. Electropotence, dealing more and more damage as creatures enter the battlefield under our control. Asurok, the Archlich, can create us some zombies, unless our opponents choose to sacrifice creatures. But we have to be able to keep, in order to keep the Archlich around, we have to have completed Tomb of Annihilation. Calculating Lich can just close out the game depending on how many creatures we attack with or our opponents attack with. Because if they're attacking each other, whoever is being attacked is going to lose life. Crown of Doom. We give this to someone else we don't like. Suddenly, all creatures that attack that person get +2/+0 until end of turn. Hissing Miasma. Whenever a creature attacks us, its controller loses 1 life. Revenge of Ravens does the same thing, except if the creature attacks a planeswalker we control or us. And that creature's controller loses 1 life, and we gain 1 life. So it'll help us keep ourselves around in the game for longer. Then we've got Ogre Battle Driver, which could just end the game out of nowhere, depending on what sword vengeance we have. Then we've got Spinerock Knoll, because we're going to be dealing some more damage within a turn, so Hideaway will be easy to get off. Then we have Phyrexian Tower, help with Lagomos' activated ability, and give us some more mana. Then we've got 24 basic swamps and 24 basic mountains. And with that said, the end of this EDH guide starring Lagomos, Hand of Hatred. I cannot speak today. But you know what you can do? You can leave a like and subscribe. Even if I cannot speak. And also you can leave a comment on this video. I like the feedback from you guys because it's always positive to just make sure that it is positive. And if you don't want to leave feedback, well, may I suggest to make an EDH request via the comment section? Like I said, first come, first serve. So get to it if you want to make your request and you want yours to be featured first. Just make sure that the commander you want to see featured on this channel has not already been featured on this channel in another episode dedicated to it. But if you want a specific style of that commander that I have not already gone over, then just say so and I will get to it, even if said commander has already been featured on this channel, like I have said. So comment anyways, make an EDH request, show your support. Really means something to me. Thank you to the 74 of you who are currently subscribed. And you guys, like I said, can show your support by also subscribing and leaving a like. Share this video along with other videos found on my channel with other people so they can receive guidance from yours truly. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss another one of my videos. With that said, I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.